Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for a couple years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we're shipping out today on Monday, so it was a good amount of stuff, so this is really cool. I have a bunch of stuff to talk about. If you hear background noise of people like doing like yard work, I can't stop that. We're running short in time to record this, pack this and ship it out. So unfortunately, if you can't deal with the outside noise, I have the mic here, so hopefully it doesn't pick up too much. All right, so the first thing right here is this Armageddon open box little kit right here. We get a bunch of these military ship kits and stuff. We'll get them open box. We'll get them missing some pieces and stuff like that. So here you go. This one looks like it's still complete. Honestly, it still looks pretty good. I took a picture of everything just in case. This ended up selling for $22.49 plus shipping. Everything's going to be plus shipping, so I'll just save us the time right now. All right, next up is going to be a brochure. This one's Greater Vancouver, British Columbia. We used to get it and sell a bunch of these brochures, these maps. People like them. The hotel ones do well. Restaurant ones do well. The city ones, the travel ones. We used to get a bunch of these. We haven't gotten any in a while, so I haven't been able to list new ones, but this still sold for $11.25. This is the stuff that like we kind of built eBay on in the beginning or in the middle of our eBay journey, where we were selling a bunch of those. All right, if I got more cheap in bulk, I would list more. All right, next up is going to be the Lord of the Rings TCG from like 2005. This is Eulair Atea. This is going to be one of the Nazgul. We just finished watching all of the extended edition movies, so that was a blast. It took like a week and a half. We had to watch it like an hour or two at a time whenever I was done with eBay and stuff like that. Yeah, this card is a rare, sold for $6.74. This one to a repeat buyer. I recently picked up some more of these cards at a little card convention that my brother goes to. He goes there for like wrestling stuff. I happened to last second find a big pile of the cards. I haven't listed new ones, but I'm excited to list them because I've been selling these that I got at auction. All right, next up is going to be a TSR map. This one kind of was marked up. I don't like to pull out the older like 80s or 90s maps because I don't want there to be any like rips or tears as I'm like, you know, holding it like this up for you guys. So yeah, I'll just show you this. This is called Boot Hill. So I don't know if this is for like a Western themed one. So there's hexes here. It is a double-sided little map. You can see someone started labeling everything in pencil. They did a pretty good job and it's pretty neat. You can't really tell on camera, but they did a good job of labeling it. I mentioned that in the listing. It sold for $19.68. Some dungeon master is probably going to use that as a map, or they're going to complete their TSR set that they had missing pieces from. All right, next up is going to be GURPS Goblins by Steve Jackson Games. They are known for doing Munchkin now, but back in the day, they would do a bunch of books, RPG stuff, board games. I don't know what this particular one is about. Obviously, like probably some satire on goblins and playing a game with that. GURPS is supposed to be, I forgot what GURPS stands for. Sorry, it was like the other role-playing games. Yeah, something other role-playing games, something like that. This ended up selling for $10.63. All right, next up is going to be a combo order of the RPG books. We used to sell a bunch of these, like kind of like the brochures. We didn't get any listed recently, so we don't have new ones to add on to the ones that have been selling, but it's really nice to get these. This was a combo order. This is going to be for Earth Dawn right here. This is, what does this one say? The Wanderer's Way, this RPG book. I don't know what this Earth Dawn particular RPG is. I've seen this company before. We've sold stuff like this before, so I'm sure like people like it. So yeah, a bunch of cool little pictures in this booklet. They're going to be like some kind of adventure booklets or character booklets. This one says Makers of Legend Volume 2, Berasive and Chaos. I don't know if I said that right there. So this is going to be probably a particular area in the Earth Dawn. And this is Immortal Dracula source book. So this is probably an individual like vampire booklet. It's probably not related to the Earth Dawn. I don't see the actual brand in there, but they bought these 3 books. They paid separately. So this is going to be $10, $20, $30, $31.26 for these 3. So basically like 10 a piece. That's pretty cool. All right, next up is going to be a used playing card deck. I like to get the interesting ones. This one I got a bit ago. This is right here, Pullman Bridge playing cards. So yeah, I like to grab these like specific ones. This one was probably in like a bulk buy. It doesn't look too special, but still sold for $16. I do look up all the playing card decks before I list them. I don't assume because the pictures and the backs aren't fancy that they are still worth something sometimes. All right, next up is going to be War Machine Prime Rulebook to a repeat buyer. This one for $6.66. Oh, that's an unlucky number, I guess. All right, so this is the Prime Rulebook. So I think this is an older edition of the rulebook. I could be wrong. This is a trade paperback, so it's not like a hardcover, but maybe someone's still like they want to play like this edition of the game, or they like the arts, they want to see like the miniatures, the paintings. There's a bunch of stuff in these miniature rule books. So like I said, $6.66. All right, next up is going to be a combo order for a board game. I have to move some stuff real quick. It's a pretty heavy one. This is going to be Seventh Continent, but I think it's an expansion, but it also can be a base game as well. Sorry, the struggle is real right here. I was like partially prepared. Like I said, we're running short on time. So this is gonna be sealed. I got this at auction with the base game. So expansion base game. I got the base game. I got a bunch of these actual expansions. These two together sold for $54. Really fun game where you're exploring an island, you're trying to solve a curse, and then you're trying to survive. So you can actually like lose in this game. And they call it Seventh Continent because the cards kind of make up the map. And as you travel on the map to the edges, you have to like add new cards, kind of like you have the vision of that area, and then you pull back some old cards. And they have this weird system. That's why the box is so heavy. It's just a bunch of these cards where you like slot them back in. Sometimes cards go into like a permanent gone zone when you've been on the continent. A lot of stuff going on with it. I could talk about it more, but we have more stuff to go through. All right, next up is going to be this Shell Route kit right here. Like I said, we like this paper ephemera stuff. This was like a little travel kit. I think we got this from the people that were selling their like dad storage unit stuff. I think there was just like a packet. So I kept everything in the packet. There was a bunch of maps and other stuff. Shell Company, a vintage one. This is probably from like 70s or 80s. Actually says in my listing 1967. So sorry, I already have it wrapped up and it's already airtight and stuff, so I can't show you guys. But this sold for $20. I like to list the cool stuff like that. All right, next up is going to be Mythos CCG. I completely forgot I listed a bunch of this stuff. I think this is maybe like the first or second lot that sold. This is 105 like these limited edition starter deck cards. I completely forgot all the research I did on this when I was listing them. I spent like a day or two, like a month ago. But yeah, these are cards from the starter deck. I think it's like the full list. If you buy the starter decks, these are the cards you get. It sold for $18.74. I made a note to do another listing. I have another one packet right here. I just have to count and double check. I made a note for myself. I kept the baggie open just so they wouldn't get damaged at the storage unit. So they were in the box together so that I could, bring this home and then relist it. All right. Next up is going to be Magic the Gathering Modern Horizons. This is the Modern Horizons. Modern Masters Limited Edition, their little deck box. This is a double deck box, so it holds two 60-card decks. This came out during when the first Modern Masters came out, which is kind of an iconic historical set at this point. And this also comes with sleeves. I think it's 80 sleeves or something. It's going to be, I can't see right here. So yeah, it says it holds 100. It comes with, 80 sleeves. So it's not enough for a commander deck, but this still sold for $10.50. People do like this. This is the arts for the City of Brass card that they had in that set. Oops, it dropped it right there, but it's a deck box with sleeves. All right, next up is going to be a Star Trek Deep Cuts. I sold a couple of these, but this is the one that's first. This one to repeat buyer. Which one is this? This is... I'm going to say this wrong. Cardassian Galler class ship right here. So Attack Wing is going to be a game where you're playing with ships. They have like Star Trek. They have a Dragons one, which I haven't got any of that stuff yet. And then they have like the military one, which is super popular. I don't know how many editions they have. I don't think these come with rules. These little deep cuts that I have. WizKids made a bunch of D&D primed like figures, and then they also do like the HeroClix, so they have the machines to do like printing for stuff like this, so they end up getting a license with Star Trek and Attack Wing. I think these are primes, meaning you can just paint them, you don't have to do work on them. This sold for $11.99. Like I said, a couple others have sold as well. All right, I'll get to them when they pop up on my screen. Next up is going to be this little box right here. When I first got this, I just thought it was a box, but then when I opened it up, it looks like a little suitcase. This is actually a super nice miniature tray holder, like very nice. The outside's kind of like a cheaper material. Maybe it meant that these were like cheaper back in the day, but that looks really nice, really clean. People can put miniatures, dice, even cards or something like small board game cards. Who knows? A really good storage thing. You can see how you can close it up pretty easily. What's going on? I didn't break it. No, that's just how it is. All right, this ended up selling for $25. Everything's good, guys. Nothing is broken here. All right, moving along, we have this little Matchbox tank right here. It's like a metal one. we got a bunch of these like die-cast cars all the time. I like listing them. Sometimes I do lots, sometimes I do individuals. I usually do like the military plane stuff individual because people want their specific figure for collecting, for playing in some kind of games, for displaying dioramas. A bunch of reasons why people pick these up. Voice crack. All right, this ended up selling for $9 to repeat buyer. All right, I'm super tired today. All right, next up is going to be Star Trek, the deep cuts. This is Galaxy class right here. I wish I knew more about Star Trek, but I only watched like one of the modern movies, and by modern, it was probably like 10 years ago, like the first like modern one they made or whatever. All right, so yeah, this ended up selling for $14.99. I think these were originally like $5, $10 or something like that. All right, moving along, we have this Rifts adventure book right here. Didn't sell for too much. Hook, line, and sinker. Rifts is going to be like an RPG series that we've sold before, so I don't know too much about it. Kind of looks like a weird sci-fi fantasy mix with like kind of reminds me of like He-Man or something like that, or yeah, I don't know. All right, this thing did have some like damage up here and on the side, so we didn't get as much for it. Almost threw it out, but the damage wasn't like too bad. Like actually going through the book is fine. Just maybe like a page or two, like this back one, are bad. It sold for $8.44. All right, move along. We have the Sky Bolts toys right here. This is going to be, let me make sure I got the right one condition. This is Cynthia, Princess of Hell, Hellglow Cynthia right here. Got a bunch of these figures a bit ago. They sell slowly. I have a ton of them, so I already relisted this individual one. This ended up selling for $8.50. She's just like a scantily clad comic book figure, but this is kind of like how like a lot of comics were back in the day and stuff like that. Yeah, Princess of Hell or something like that. I don't know anything about this story. It sold for $8.50. I just know we have a bunch of those, and they have been selling slowly. All right, moving along, we have the Cool Mini or Not, the Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones miniature game. All right, these are going to be the Stark Riders on their cavalry horses right here. Got a bunch of these. I got like a big collection in an auction. I think I spent $60 for everything. These end up selling for $17.99. They're actually kind of hard to ship because some of these have a little flag up, like a flag carrier, kind of like as a banner person. And that banner is really delicate. There was another lot that I shipped out, and as I was shipping it, I like barely touched it and the flag fell off. Easy fix with glue. I didn't have my miniature glue at the time because it had dried up. So I messaged the person and they said that it was okay, that they were going to just glue it themselves, but I had to let them know. So I'm going to be nervous shipping that out just because of how delicate the little like flagpole right near the arm is. All right, $17.99 if I didn't mention it. Sorry if I already did that. All right, moving along, we have not a combo order. This is a to a repeat buyer. Because I had a bunch of these figures, it's more of these Skybolt figures. So this is the Hellglow Cynthia. I'm not sure what happened with this particular realm, but usually when I have multiple sell in the same day, maybe like, I don't know, a new comic came out or someone talked about it somewhere in an article. And then there's Plasma Glow Nira right here, where she has her pistol and her little cloak. So these do glow in the dark. I'm pretty sure I tested the glow in the dark things. I felt like a kid again, putting it under the light and then going into the bathroom, shutting the door, turning it off, turning off the lights. No, that's the... Well, I guess when I had a bunch of brothers and my family and stuff, so like the only place to actually like turn off the lights was like the bathroom or something. You couldn't like just like, hey guys, I'm doing a glow in the dark with a bunch of windows. What? Oh, that's fine. No, I didn't. I was just curious to see if it actually worked. All right, $24.30 for these two. All right, moving along, we have, this is also important for the number, 116. Where did I put it? Oh, whew, I thought I left something at the storage unit. I've been nervous and paranoid all day. So these are the Modern Masters Limited Edition City of Brass sleeves. So I also got a bunch of, in addition to those deck boxes, someone must have been collecting this particular deck box and the sleeves. These were the sleeves that they had taken out of the deck box, and there's 116. It's important because you need 100 sleeves for a commander deck. It's probably the most popular way to play Magic the Gathering now, where you pick a commander, it's a legendary creature. They'll have colors. Let's say if it's a white-red commander, all your cards have to be white-red. You can also throw in like artifacts and lands and stuff in there. But yeah, this is important because it's enough for a commander deck, and 16 cards for extra cards, or like if you rip up a sleeve, or if you have like a sideboard. There's not too many people use sideboards. There's technically like an optional rule for that. $12.74. All right, moving along. This one is pretty interesting. This is an incomplete vintage like 1980s Transformer. This is G1 Jetfire Autobot. I don't know anything about like Transformers and stuff. I got a bunch of stuff from someone else a bit ago. It was like a big bin of 80s like Transformers, Beast War stuff. It was really good. And then my brother has swapped over to doing. I got this from my brother in a couple of bags of like Transformers and Micro Machines and other like basically bits and pieces. He already listed all of the like complete stuff, the easy to list stuff, yeah, basically the more complete stuff. So these were parts from him. Ended up selling for $59.99. So it's pretty cool. I sent him a message today. I'm like, hey, you want like the rest of your stuff back? That was kind of like more than I expected. Like I know bits and pieces can be cool for like the toys, like the vintage ones. This one looks less incomplete than other ones. I think it's missing some like red bits and pieces that are supposed to go on like the outer shell, I think. But yeah, really cool. Really thankful he did that. That actually helps us out a lot. So yeah, the second time I've gotten Transformer stuff, and it was someone that just didn't want to bin or deal with the bin of bits and pieces. I have the rest to list today, so we'll see how that goes. All right, next up is going to be this Burger King toy. Yeah, we'll list anything, honestly. And I used to grab all these toy baggies at Goodwills and Savers, and we made a lot of money from the little baggies, $1.50, but they eventually raised them to like $5, $10, and then it started not being as good. So yeah, really cool because it comes apart and it has like the skeleton of the whale. I don't know. I like underwater creatures and animals and stuff like that. So yeah, this one's pretty cool. $7.49. It's just which one? I am scared of the sea. That's a different story though. But I do like the animals. But yeah. All right, moving along. We have a PC game, Shell Shock 2 Blood Trails. Never played this one, so I don't know anything about it. Kind of looks like a shooter game. Probably has some kind of, it looks like there's zombies or monsters or something that you're fighting. And you're probably figuring out what's happening as you're playing the shooter game. $20.62. All right, next up is going to be a lot of 8 of these. They're weird to describe. So they're D&D square gridded like tiles right here. So they're 1-inch grids, but then they kind of have a styrofoam backing to the back. So they can like, I don't know, I guess like stick somewhere. I don't know if you can actually peel these off. I don't want to test it. It's not my anymore because I'm paid for it. And then the front is translucent. So I'm not sure if that's for like can you stick this on a window or something, or do you put this on glass? Is it a sticker or is it just translucent because that's just what they used to make it? So I've never seen these types of tiles before. They're really cool ones. So yeah, these were all, they look like to be part of a set for like, I called it Abandoned Ruin. So people like to do little D&D maps where they're going to set these up and then their players are going to go through this ruin. There's going to be treasures to find, monsters to fight. This sold for $15. So yeah, interesting thing. I couldn't even figure out like what brand it was. So I just listed a bunch of things that I just talked about right there, like gridded, 1-inch RPG. All right, moving along. We have a 1989 TSR. This is Bloodstone map right here. I don't know. I never played D&D in the 80s and stuff like that, so I don't know anything about this particular map or realm, but I know there's a bunch of different areas in D&D. People love this stuff all the time. This ended up selling for $16.87 to a repeat buyer. I don't want to take this one out, like I said, with these like more delicate maps. I don't want to like flail it about and then get some like corners ripped or like the creases in the middle ripped, if that makes sense. You can look at our solds if you actually want to see like the pictures of them. All right, next up is going to be a blanket. Also, don't want to spread it out too much right here. I hope you can see this a little bit. I got this a long time ago, probably like the first year of us doing eBay. This is Dia de Loy Mirtez Rose Woman Sullivan Arts blanket. There you go. Yeah, I'm just going. What? Which one? Oh, So American. Okay, yeah, I butchered that. Another's cringing. She's literally cringing right now. It's a blanket with like a cool piece of art on it. We watch other people do blankets. Mindy, you can't have that. All right, give me a second, guys. We're having a cat drama. Got to keep her away from the products. Don't want to. Yeah, okay, she's gone. She's just curious and hyper right now. She's excited for the video, I guess. That sold for $15. Nothing too crazy. Used to watch other people get blankets, so we ended up getting a bunch of blankets. We've done pretty well with the blankets. We have a couple left. We haven't done them in a while. They do take up a lot of space. They're kind of a pain to take a picture. All right, move it along. Next up is going to be a lot of 14 of these 1960s like NPC soldier, like miners or something. They seem to be like these figures, like ones like this, like holding a shovel, but they have open hands, which was important. I saw people like list. I went through a bunch of these bins. I did a video of me quickly going through the stuff when I was organizing it. So yeah, they have open hands. There's another one that's like has an open hand up there. I don't know anything about these, but I did dig into them. I noticed people list that with the open hands from the 60s. Pretty cool. This sold for $13. Kind of crazy to sell something like almost like 40, 50 years old. That's wild to me. That's kind of cool part about eBay too. All right, I find it fascinating. Next up is going to be an incomplete German game. Your SERP right here. There's a bunch of these little germs or something. Really cool art. The components are kind of unique too. This I think is missing like an extra rule sheet. This is rule sheets. This is a 5 to 6 player expansion, so it's enough tokens to add a 5th player or 6th player to a board game. I just used like a Google Translator, but I can also see this eater rug for 5 and 6 Spieler und Nu Jan or something. I don't know. I just butchered half of that, but yeah, I can tell. I can just tell by being in the board game world that this was an expansion, player expansion. Sold for $20.01 randomly. Someone probably wanted the dollar amount to be exact with shipping. All right, next up is going to be Star Trek Attack Wing. Is this the last one? This is Katinga class. I don't know if I said that one right there. It kind of looks like a ship with like these kind of side wings and like a pointy piercing up. This ended up selling for $10.79. Already talked. All right, I think that's everything. One last thing is I made a mistake last what day? Friday. I shipped out the wrong demo disc. I'm just gonna have them keep that one. The price, they pay like $11 for the other one. I shipped out $253 when I was supposed to ship out $252. Really bad mistake, so I'm just going to ship this one out today and just kind of eat the cost. I could have them ship the other one back, but then at that point, because it was only like $11 shipping, so it would probably be $5 or $6, and it would just be getting the game back for nothing. And it was my mistake, like big mistake, just shipping the wrong item, and they were cool about it. So I'm going to ship this out today for that person, make it right. It's been a while since I made a mistake like that. That is saying I'm making mistakes right all the time. She's shaking her head. All right, that's okay. She's keeping me in check. All right, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone had a good weekend.